Um, this is by World of Ability Podcast Network in collaboration with several groups. We're kind of teaming up with Onward and Upward Prosperity Pathways, um,
This is
Hope Advanced, and we've got Project Die Hard, the Veterans Ranch, um, and then Emily, help me out here. I want to call it Peace, Love, and Hope for veterans. Is that
Uh, Hope, faith, and love, or
Hope, faith,
faith,
and love? There we go.
or faith, hope, and love. Faith, hope, and love.
Yeah, faith, hope, and love for veterans. There we go. Let's get this right here. And then we have Justin with VWAS, Veteran and Warrior One Stop Shop. And then we have Zach Clayton with Community Pay It Forward. And right now we're with Denise Vargas of Live Creatively Inc. And we have Barbara on here, who is a regular contributor to our podcast with the World Ability Podcast itself and the World Ability Podcast Network. And so here with Emily Gallmer, co-producer, co-host, and podcast engineer here at the World Ability Podcast Network. So we are here on January 22nd, 2022, with a very important milestone. We are 1 month out from Tuesday, February 22nd. So with our Wisconsin team and others helping our Wisconsin team, we are making use of Kalahari Resort out of the Wisconsin Dells area in Wisconsin to give us with that in-person opportunity limited to the first 200 people who go ahead and book up for them being with us there. And then other than that, opening it up through the internet, through virtual platforms, virtually event tools, to have this opened up for a worldwide response on February 22nd, 2022. 2-22 to save22.com is the homepage. And so we're deep in it, and we're putting all our chips on the table to say it is time to respond in an entirely shifted, altered, and more meaningful way, and to find a way to be more proficient and accurate and precise in what veterans are looking for and needing as a community as we live in the legacy of those who have died from suicide, those who have passed away, losing the battle to suicide ideation and no longer with us. And then for those that are in that position right now, as we are doing this podcast. So, in that position of mental health crisis, depression, anxiety, post traumatic stress disorder, suicide ideation, darkness, maybe it's feelings of worthlessness, and just kind of for many coming into it from the disease aspect of it. It is a disease experience and, a mind altering experience, and just, kind of challenging the body and the mind to stay in that self preservation mode and in that autonomic system that typically is there to instinctively have us preserve ourselves to getting to that dysfunction and their system shutting down and just totally go in the trajectory of death. So it is an important topic and couldn't get ever more serious. This is a life or death conversation. And again, is a milestone, January 22nd, 1 month out from February 22nd. So we're really ramping up our response and sharing out there to a whole new, stronger level. And so, Denise, come on in here. We appreciate the work that you had done to take a preliminary rendition of our logo, and you spent some time and you've provided the logo that we're using today, showing 2-22, showing two people, save 22, the 22 number on dog tags to remember that these are people from military. So Denise, come on in here and share your experience with what everything is planned to be for February 22nd. And what are your expectations from what we're looking ahead to the next month?
Well, if I can just say that what I absolutely love about the center of this logo is lifting each other up. You know, oftentimes we feel alone. And when you are serving your country, now just to be clear, I am not in the military, I'm not a vet, but they do hold a special place in my heart because they do so much for the country to keep us free, to keep us safe. And then when they're no longer serving, who's serving them? Who's helping them? It's up to us, right? Like we need to give back because they've given so much. And we need to lift them up when they're feeling down, when they're feeling lost, when they're feeling like they just can't do it anymore. We want to let them know that they don't need to do it alone. We're here for them. We will lift them up together. So I'm really happy that we're all working together to bring awareness and change. So yeah, let's do this together. And thank you, Kurt, for introducing me to the project. Oftentimes we're unaware of what's going on. We see these amazing people doing such phenomenal work taking care of us, and then we just don't know the backstory of when they leave. So thank you for making me aware and letting me help in this project.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is what they'd call an all hands on deck initiative, a call out to the entirety of the 7.8 billion people on the planet, and to say, let's rally together and do a whole lot better than we are. And let's get a better understanding so we can be more on target for what the individuals need, that we can be with them and supporting them before they get deep into this darkness and become beyond the point of return and maybe lacking that friendly companionship that really the situation would dictate that people need when they get that far down into this mental health process. So Barbara, when we were in the green room preparing to come on podcast, you had shared with us that you do have some thoughts on the topic of veteran suicide and otherwise what this all brings forth. So Barbara, take it away. What do you bring to the table and what are your thoughts as we are sharing our group conversation addressing veteran suicide? Barbara, are you there? Okay, well, we're waiting for Barbara to come back to us. Emily, can you do us the favor and lay out more of the event details and what's structured for February 22nd?
Okay, so the day starts at 9 a.m. Central with a job fair that goes all morning. And then in the afternoon, we have a drone ball drop, a smash party, the showing of the documentary Project 22, and then in the evening there's a benefit dinner or gala and a concert, and the day wraps up at 9 p.m. Central, so a full day, full 12-hour day of different activities that everybody can be a part of. or a part of the ones that they're interested in participating in.
Yep. Excellent stuff. Yeah, we have an event planning team working really hard to make this real worthwhile for everybody, and again, especially directly to our veterans. So, Barbara, sound check. Are you connecting in? And I want to give you the chance to share the thoughts you alluded to earlier. Are you ready to share, Barbara? Barbara, we aren't hearing you. I don't know if you have the phone muted on your phone microphone, but we are ready for you to share if you are ready, Barbara. All right, so it looks like Barbara is still working on getting her audio connected. We were just talking to her effortlessly 10 minutes ago, and now all of a sudden she's having either something going on or having trouble working with her phone. So, but yeah, February 22nd, I am basically myself personally with my contacts, everybody I reach, including through this. I ask all of you to consider that day and to think of hopefully at least 22 minutes of something that you can put together, even if it's doing a Facebook Live of your own or, you know, some other social media or just doing stuff locally around you, talking to a friend or family or neighbor. Um, let's see here. We got Barbara. I can't hear anyone. Seems you can't hear me. I tried to tell a friend calling that I would call. Seems like Barbara's audio connection was lost from a call. So yeah, Barbara's still working on her sound. So again, 22 minutes of your day, hopefully on that Tuesday, February 22nd, whether it's our structured activities that our event committee has set up. And we have Zach Clayton, who from Colorado is also aspiring to set up a 22-hour span of events, just a range of when the first activity commences to the end of the last activity or part of conversation, that reaching out to Australia and the Orient and you know, out to different places of the world, to Europe and you know, so forth, to really have that New Year's Eve type of effect, you know, where those of us here in the Western world are, you know, waiting for our turn to celebrate New Year's Eve. We're doing this in kind of a similar way through Zach, that maybe people out in the Eastern Hemisphere are going to be able to get us started a little sooner, since they will be reaching Tuesday, January 22nd, a little sooner than the rest of us. So we're going to see here if Barbara has made any improvement. Barbara, let's see here. You were unmuted just a moment. There we go. Barbara, are you ready to share? You're on. All right, Barbara, we still are not hearing you. You're unmuted through the Zoom call. There we go. Barbara, are you there? She is working on it as best she can.
Sometimes if you pop out and pop back in, sometimes that helps.
Yeah, I just don't know if she's hearing us. So Denise, while we're waiting for Barbara, do you have anything further to add?
You know, I am just really looking forward to the day, the drone. Actually, it's going to be fascinating to be involved in all of this and see every aspect take place. But the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to is seeing the awareness and the funds that we're going to raise to really help our brothers and sisters.
Absolutely. And the concept with this is, you know, we're with a group of people that just really want to be on the front lines of this and They want the results of this event to derive actual interactions, actual conversation, actual services to the vets, that our vets are being served directly, immediately. That's the whole concept, that sometimes a lot in education, a lot's being done there. So the education is great, the awareness and the fundraising. Obviously, in terms of programs and activities, obviously, yeah, we need the fundraising in a big, big way. And that's why our group is igniting this as a $22 million campaign. Because when we look at it, that, through veteran affairs and otherwise in the military community, we're getting from our context that we're at 37 veterans a day lose their life to suicide. So you start to look at that, and the fact that in the whole realm of suicide in the United States, 1 in 5 of deaths that come from suicide, 1 in 5 of those deaths from suicide is a veteran suicide. So to me, this is kind of a double benefit strategy, that for sure any life we save is huge. But when you look at the military community, you look at veteran affairs, you look at the reality in our government, legislatively, like, we just got done with the World of Ability podcast and talking about, for us again in the US, the Americans with Disabilities Act, that we're 32 years into having the benefit of what's been brought forth for the Americans with Disabilities Act. And let's think about, 32 years ago, where were we at politically that made it all possible? And when you really get the entirety of the narrative, the conversation, all of those, strenuous, meetings, and putting up with a lot of resistance from legislature, actually, as the whole process was ensued. And then you look at what did it take to get us over the hump, where we then were able to celebrate the victory, that we got the legislative support finally to pass the Americans with Disabilities Act, and then to have George H.W. Bush sign it into law. It actually is our veteran community, that when you look at the narrative, the messaging, you might even say propaganda, but it's got a negative connotation. But the way we reach the voters and the legislators was that veteran approach. So when you think of it, it was the image in our minds. It was painting that picture of our injured and wounded veterans. That's what created the political appetite that got us to where ADA was reality. And so I think there's something to be said, that, that patriotism of making sure that we're taking care of our veterans, there's just a function that plays in making societal change. And so that's a little bit of the secondary benefit. It's not the intention of what Anne Marie Oblivion and Justin, with their discussion and kind of why they're doing this. They just simply want to help their brothers and sisters, their veterans in these dark places. But once they created it, then it unraveled to the broader conversation. And then I guess from my coming into it, that's kind of what I realized is kind of the happenstance benefit from all this, is that there's a good strategy to be had, is we can spend the next month just driving it into the specialty of the message of veterans. And then that'll branch off, that with everybody involved, it'll branch off to get us out to what already exists. For many years, there's been a campaign for zero suicide, the Zero Suicide Initiative. We do have Barbara back. Barbara, we're going to do a little sound check with you again. How are you doing? Are you ready to share?
Yes, then I'm so excited that I figured it out and I got myself back on. Yay. I have a girlfriend who talks about how sometimes we have to have bragging rights. It's good for everybody. Yeah, I'm excited about this project. I mean, I was this like real 60s hippie going, supposedly gave a war and nobody showed up to participate. This idea of how we create a world that's really, peaceful and loving, and people knowing what's going on with each other and caring about each other and seeing each other. And I feel honored. I feel really grateful to get to be part of this project. In any way I can contribute, I'm grateful.
Awesome. Awesome. So, yeah, thanks for jumping on to share your enthusiasm for our campaign here, our 1 month of keeping things going. Barbara, did you have anything else to say? I mean, you're basically Denise and Emily and I. We all have brought forth everything we intended for this exclusive episode and this specialty presentation. But before we sign off, did you have anything else, or was that the extent of what you wanted to share?
And I'd love to share that it's so good if people can feel they can be authentic and they can speak honestly and still be accepted by each other, that we can still hear each other. They say people, even if we're like really disagreeing, the fact we're communicating with each other is unity right there. It's making something happen right there, that's people being more united. And I hope people will be patient with me because I have so much I'd love to share, and in all kinds of ways. Mhm.
Well, excellent. So yeah, this is a special effort today on this Saturday to get out there, and they're really kicking the gear. The next 4 weeks, the next month worth of effort, and culminating on that Tuesday. So this by no means is an end to anything. Denise, you have come off of mute. Did you have something you wanted to get in before we
I
end it?
did. Yes, thank you. I did. Actually, Kurt, I wanted to ask, for those out there listening, if they wanted to come and join us and bring awareness and just really be part of this, what could they do? Like, how can they get in touch with us? And what ideas could we give them to help? Because I'm sure there are a lot of people out there, they're going to want to help.
Yes.
Well, I mean, first of all, let's make sure everybody feels that they can share a standard representation of again what our planning committee has put together, and that's 2-22 to save22.com. So that's a lot of use of the digit 2, but then the 2 save is TOSAVE. So 2-22 TOSAVE 22.com. 2-22 to save22.com is the website. And I always offer that if I can be helpful as a contact, feel free to call and text me 262-372-1SKI. That's 262-372-1754. And you can also email me abilitymkenow@gmail.com. ABILITYMKE now NOW @gmail.com. So hopefully that helps. And then we also have all those groups that are working with us. They all have their own websites and having their social media presence, social media pages. So you can look for the allies in this, the collaborators. Again, VWAS, Veteran and Warrior One Stop Shop. You have Project Die Hard, the Veterans Ranch, which will show that they're actively serving, based out of Florida and Texas, serving from wherever people are willing to come from to get what they're providing in equine therapy out of Florida and Texas. And then we have Hope Advance and Faith, Hope, and Love for veterans, and Onward and Upward. And then we have Zach Clayton who is Community Pay It Forward, and he's got his podcast, Packed Podcast, all coming together. So, and we're getting our hashtags going and so forth. So hopefully, if you just do your Googles, we're hoping it's not too much work to be funneled over to us. And in terms of ideas, every little bit helps. I guess we're going off of a little of a lot is a lot. A little of a lot is a lot. So even if you don't think it's worth it to do a little thing, it could be as simple as keeping the mantra going that when you see a veteran, if somebody's obviously a veteran, thank them for their service. Show that enamor for the whole realm and the fact that they represent a community that we're patriotic to and our hearts are with, and just being there. And the idea is that if somebody wants to serve in this area of suicide ideation and to be ready for if it's in their midst, there is something called QPR training. It's something you can look up and connect to it. There's a lot of places you can get QPR training for free, and it's trainers taking you through the process that if you're witnessing somebody culminating to, or you're suspecting that they may be in suicide ideation, it starts with questioning. So you go through a Q&A process and you're asking for insight on if they want help, need help, what they're dealing with, and figuring out if you can play a role in what they're experiencing. And if that door opens up, that now they're putting their faith, trust, their hope in you, that then you're ready to participate in that experience by being ready to persuade them. So to get the dialogue to where they're committing that they're going to do something about the way that they're feeling, and that they're with you to the end of really professional help, like to be willing to be in the hands of a professional as we're trying to help them as lay people. And then the idea is referral, and to be there with them in the handoff and to help that process, where if somebody is in this dark place, don't just leave it that they've got what they need. Stick with them until the actual circumstances there is that a professional is telling you that they have that person in good care. And so there's the suicide hotline and things like that. But in terms of the more general thing, anything that's fun, is a way to help veterans get away from the potential from suicide. It's not an end all cure all, but the more fun and entertainment, enjoyment, and joy that can be available to a veteran, just because they're in the circumstances of a great time, doesn't mean that they're enjoying it that way. But it's just nice. There's stories told about how one veteran invited another veteran to go fishing, and then it was to go hunting, and then it was to go camping. And so by having those activities is great. And that becomes an issue too, because some people develop such an antisocial dilemma that they just reject the invitation to go and do things with other people. They just want to be a recluse and stay to themselves, and they just feel they have to just deal with it, and they don't want to bother other people with it. They're just not feeling it. They're not feeling the need for a social engagement, which can be kind of a dual-edged sword. So but other than that, we do have tickets for sale. We do have we do take donations, people who have ideas about who can sponsor all these efforts. We have a $22 million campaign. It can be calling your local VFW, American Veteran Post, or whatever it is. Just diving into the realm of it and finding out if there is in your local area a veteran services officer, whether with county government or at the state level. People can offer that way. And there's a lot of professionals out there also dealing with this dilemma. I mean, the statistic of 22 veterans a day dying to suicide has been running for a decade. So there's people all over the place that if you do a little bit of looking, you make a few phone calls, send a few emails, whatever, and whatever our group can help in doing that. But like I say, it's using the space in front of you with those that whether it's a neighbor, maybe it's inviting a friend over, and you and a friend just talk about it. And if you open this conversation up to another friend, you just doubled it. Because if we're reaching you and you're one that we reached, and then you talk to a friend and you and a friend share in this conversation, you just doubled our reach through you. So Denise, I don't know if you have any other ideas to branch off of that, but other than that, we can close unless you had something else, Denise.
I love all those ideas. And the biggest thing for me is just be there, listen, learn, and help and love.
There we go. So we'll leave that as our segue to conclude and exit. That will send everybody off with love and have that be the recipe of success. Let's spread love all around the world and have faith that love never fails.